Last night I went to Crime 101 with a live Q&A after, and this was the weirdest seminar I've ever been to. I feel like I didn't learn anything. In Crime 101, we follow a thief, an insurance broker, and a detective, all getting increasingly more desperate in their respective fields for very different reasons. And this eventually causes their paths to converge. This movie was not on my radar at all until like a few weeks ago, and then that trailer really grabbed me, so I've been looking forward to it since then. I figured it'd be good, the cast looked strong, I liked the premise, the action seemed well done, and while all of that's true, this movie was way better than I expected. It's based off the novella of the same name by Don Winslow, and the film is written and directed by Bart Layton, who made American Animals back in 2018. I remember thinking that movie was alright, but after watching this, I might have to go and revisit that one. Bart brings us a movie that is very well crafted and stands out from other crime thrillers. The structure of the story and the way that things play out is pretty different from movies like this and how they usually play out, and that was a welcome surprise. Usually you have the criminal and the detective is hot on their heels, they kind of know who it is, but not really. Then the criminal is planning some big job where everything eventually goes down and the criminal gets their comeuppance, the end. And well, you do kind of get that here, but there's so much more to it than that, and like I said, it does play out very differently. First of all, things don't even really get rolling on some big final job until like the last 50 to 40 minutes of the movie, and I'm not going to give anything away about that because obviously that's the end of the movie and that's where they subvert a lot of your expectations. But most of this movie is following these characters, the criminal, the insurance broker, and the detective, showing where they're at in their life and how things are causing them to get progressively more and more desperate. And then once we're invested in them as individuals, that's when things really start to come together. The detective is actually pretty clueless throughout most of the movie. I mean, he kind of has a pattern of the criminal, but that's it. And then a couple of the other main characters don't even meet until at least like an hour into the movie. The writing is very good, but I think this movie is a prime example of how actors can really elevate the material. The cast here is insane. I think every one of them gives a great performance, and I really enjoyed their characters. You have Monica Barbaro, Halle Berry, Chris Hemsworth, Barry Keoghan, Mark Ruffalo, Nick Nolte, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Corey Hawkins, and Devin Bostick, yes, Roderick. In the last few years, we've gotten him in Oppenheimer, an episode of The Studio, War of the Worlds, and now this. That's our Roderick. There are a few great action sequences in here. There's a couple of chases, and then a robbery, maybe a couple of others. But really, it's not focused on the action as much as it is on just the intensity of everything. I'd say the movie is a nice slow burn, just focusing more on the characters and the tension than it really is all of the action. It's super engaging from beginning to end, and it manages to be very easy to follow, but never over-explains anything like Netflix movies do. I feel like we don't get movies like this anymore, not that often, and if we do, they go straight to streaming. They're probably not very good, so this one is definitely worth your time, and I'd say it's worth checking out in the theater. But those were my thoughts on Crime 101. Let me know yours, and please subscribe. I talk about movies, video games, TV, and more, or go watch some of my other stuff. I appreciate you watching this. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.